Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with reTHINK Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 23. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at reTHINK Coaching, and I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. I say this all the time. Our time is our most valuable gift, and the fact that you're here just means so much to me. So today, I want to talk to you about this concept of messy in the middle, or different levels of hard, if you will. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, real estate professionals across the country and internationally. And in conversations of late, we seem to be having more conversations about things being harder than we thought it was going to be. And I find that to be a really fascinating conversation to have because in my world, when things get difficult or hard, it just means that you're on the cusp of a breakthrough. That's all it means. Yet that's taken me a long time to get there. And so as an entrepreneur, real estate professional, you may be at a space right now where you're in that messy in the middle part. It was fun to do all the planning. It's amazing to think about the future. And now we're in the middle of it where we've got to perform and do things. And maybe things just aren't going as easily as we thought they would go because we had such amazing plans and on paper, everything went brilliantly smooth. And now you're in real life and it's just not as easy as you thought it would be. So I want to talk a little bit about that because over the decade plus that I've been coaching real estate professionals, what I find to be fascinating is reaction to degrees of things being difficult or hard and what people make it mean. And so I coach people at all different levels of income, 6 figures, multiple 7-figure, and everybody experiences this messy in the middle part. But what is separating the people from where they are to where they would like to be, or maybe from where they are to a 7-level income, is how they define and how they react to this messy in the middle part or the hard stuff. Okay. And so I'll share with you, team, I go through this as well. My career has been amazing. I started off in the hotel business with Marriott, ended my career with them as an executive. And each level of job that I had with Marriott, from reservation clerk to regional to general manager, there were levels of hard. And it was my tenacity to get through it that allowed me to be successful in those positions and then also to get promoted to other positions. Same thing when I left the hotel industry and went into real estate. I didn't walk into a book of business. I had to create it. And I will never forget my fantasy of what it was going to be like to be a successful real estate agent was amazing. Yet when I started to do the work, I realized that there were going to be a lot of messy in the middle moments where I had to deal with things that were difficult. And no different when I decided to leave the coaching company that I was with, where there was a lot of security. I had my position in the company was respected. And then I decided to go and launch my own coaching company. And I went through the messy in the middle phase. It happened pretty quickly, to be honest with you, because what I thought it was going to be like to launch a coaching company and what it was were a little different from each other. And it required a little bit more work. But for me, the messy in the middle, the hardship part of it is what motivates me. Because here's what I know from my previous experience, both in the hotel industry, as a real estate agent, as a real estate team owner, as a franchise owner, all of these things, is that every time I got through that messy in the middle part, there was greatness on the other side. And it was always worth it. It was always worth it because there's some satisfaction in knowing that you've got the skill set to break through it. And there's also a different level of success and maybe a different level of income for you on the other side. So first thing I would say is ask yourself, how do you process the messy in the middle part or the harder part of our business? How do you define it and what do you do when you experience it? What I know to be true is whatever definition or energy you give to it is exactly how it's going to be for you. Remember, our energy precedes us in everything we do. And so if I view the messy in the middle, the hard work part of this, or the difficulties that I'm being presented with in a negative manner, this is really hard. I don't know if it's worth it. I can't stand this. It's stealing my joy. It's making me do this. It's making me do that. If we go into kind of a victim-y mode about it and we hold that space for what we define the hard part for, it's exactly what we're going to get. And I'm realizing that for the people that I coach at a higher level, they don't allow themselves to give that phase a negative meaning. So you might be a person that right now is in this messy in the middle phase of your business where the strategies you put into place are way harder than you thought, or you're running into things are coming up that are making this harder than you thought, and it was not in your plan. I mean, none of us plan, oh, at phase B, it's going to be really hard, right? We just plan phase B knowing that we're going to get through it to phase C. But this little uninvited dinner guest shows up called hard, and it makes it to where it's going to test us, our resilience, if we're willing to break through it. So first thing I would say is step back and look at what definition or meaning do you give to this phase. So some of us, it's negative. For some of us, like myself, I don't love things to be hard, but here's what I know. That is going to be that difficulty or that challenging part of that phase of the business. I got to get through to get to the other side. And that, in a way, motivates me. And that's how I look at it. So when things present themselves in a difficult way, I lean into it. So are you a resistor or do you lean into? It's going to make a huge difference into how long you stay in this phase. What you resist, persist. We know that. We can throw out all these catchy little universal laws, but at the end of the day, it's true. The longer I resist the messy in the middle, the longer it's going to persist. The second I lean into it, know that it's just phase, and that when I break through it, there's going to be greatness on the other side. I break through it at a quicker level. So first thing, ask yourself, which one are you? And identify that. And if you're the resistor, great opportunity for you to reframe your thoughts around this phase. What I know to be true is when you break through the hardships is when the results are there. So spend some time with it. The other thing that I'm going to encourage is when you set your sights on a goal, and it's a goal that maybe you haven't achieved before, you have to know that you're not going to breeze through it. I don't really know of anybody in an entrepreneurial role who hasn't at some point experienced the messy in the middle, the hard work part or the difficulty part, the challenges and obstacle part. I don't. And I want us to take a look at it and say, okay, is somebody else performing at the level that I would like to perform? And this is not for comparison. This is strictly for you to create the space of possibility. Because when you're stuck in the muck, the messy middle, if you know that it's possible for somebody else and then it's possible for you, you have a little bit of encouragement and motivation to keep pushing it through. So I rarely encourage comparison. You know, my good friend Marianne Collins always reminds me, and she always says, you know, comparison is the greatest thief of all joy. And it typically is. So I do not want you to get caught in the space of comparing yourself like they're better than me. I could never do that. I want you to compare just for the sake of learning that it's possible. And then I also want you to understand that because that person's at that level of success, they most likely went through their messy in the middle part, right? They broke through it and they're on the other side succeeding. So for my real estate entrepreneurs, I know you'll understand this. And this is like when I first started in real estate, I was trying to figure out what my quickest path to a lead was going to be, what my quickest path to a closing was going to be. And so I started observing other agents in my brokerage who were performing at the level that I intended to be at. And I would listen to them. And, you know, I could hear some of them talking about, oh my gosh, I had this great open house this weekend and I secured 2 buyers and a listing. And so in my brain, I thought, well, I just have to go do an open house and I'm going to achieve that same level of success. What I don't want us to forget, and what I was forgetting at that time, was that wasn't that person's first open house, second open house, or third. They most likely got through the messy in the middle part of that skill set and now are performing it at a high level. And so I'm not going to pop into an open house typically on my first one and have the same level of success that somebody's worked through the hardship of it, right? And I learned when I started doing open houses, which was one of the things I did, that it wasn't easy, that there were some hardships, some messy in the middle that I had to break through to become a successful person at holding open houses. So compare from the sake of it's possible, and also embrace the fact that that person's most likely already been through the messy in the middle part. The other thing that I want you to consider, so again, going back to when I launched reTHINK coaching, my messy in the middle, the hard part of for me, and I broke through and got to a level of success was amazing. But then I raised the bar because I wanted to get to another level of success. And guess what I had to do? I had to go through the messy in the middle part again. Yet this time it was different because I'd mastered, or at least become really good at the skills that got me to the level of success I was at. And now I was upping the game. I had to know, and I knew going into it, it was going to get hard again. It was going to get difficult again. And I was going to go through a phase of struggling. And again, because of my definition of the messy in the middle, I was ready for it and almost excited for it to lean into it because I knew I had to go there before I could go there. So just know that this is something, if you're looking at improving your business and growing your business to different levels, that you're going to be in this messy in the middle phase multiple times throughout your journey. Now, you might get to a certain level and say, okay, I'm good, I'm done, I'm going to park here and only have to go through the messy middle part once. That's fine. But I do believe things are going to happen. They're going to create for you to go through that. I also believe that there's external circumstances that are going to throw curveballs our way and force us to be at the messy in the middle part, even if we've achieved the level of success we wanted. So I look at over the last several years in the real estate industry, we've been dealt with a couple big curveballs: a worldwide pandemic, shortage of inventory, and interest rates, highest they've been in 10, 15 years. And so we were put in the place of the messy again because we had to do things that were more difficult or harder than we've done in the past. So just know, even if you've reached this level or this pinnacle where you're really happy being at, you're going to have to deal with this. And how you deal with it is going to depend on how long you make that phase last. So if you don't enjoy the messy in the middle part, I'm going to just be really honest with you. You're never going to grow. If you embrace the messy in the middle part and lean into it, it's not going to last as long as if you resisted it. And if you ultimately embrace it and accept it and view it as a beautiful thing because you're on your journey to growth, I promise you're going to almost look forward to it. It's like, okay, cool. I'm at the really difficult part of this. This is really harder than I thought it was going to be. I have arrived at this place, which means there's a breakthrough waiting for me right around the corner. And that is what I'm going to invite you to think about as we work through this year and you experience different levels of the messy in the middle, that you just embrace it for what it is. I look at it that it's what I'm going to break through to get to the other side. And I actually get kind of excited about it because I know that I'm going to grow as a human being. My business is going to grow and I'm going to show up differently and be able to experience different things. So, team, this is when I'm going to tell you and I'm going to encourage you. This is the messy in the middle when you're growing your business. At first, okay, you get through it, right? But as you're getting really serious about taking your business up to the next level, this is when you need a coach, preferably a reTHINK coach. But this is when you need a coach to help you get through it. So the coach that I currently have, who's amazing, calls this phase when it's the messy in the middle that you're in a tunnel, right? And we all know tunnel, right? You go into it and then you come out of it. And just encourages embracing and knowing that you're going to have a breakthrough at some point. that is a partnership that I enjoy because it's someone who embraces the messy and the middle part. I have another coach who is probably the most optimistic human being I've ever met in my entire life, yet smart and strategic. And so I have this balance, right? Not saying that my other coach isn't motivating or isn't smart, brilliant, but more driven to get you through the difficult part to elevate your business so you can enjoy other parts of your life. So I've got multiple coaches that I lean into because here's what I know. For myself and most entrepreneurs that I've had the pleasure of coaching and talking to across the country, we never usually park at a level of satisfaction. We're usually growing our business in some way, whether it's to earn more, to give more, whether it's to earn more to create a different future, whether it's to earn more to diversify our portfolio so we can have other investments going on. We rarely just say, okay, I've arrived, I'm done. That's not typically our entrepreneurial spirit. So as you go on this journey, I'm going to invite you to think about investing in a coach that will guide you and be there for the messy in the middle part and will help you get through it quicker and experience the breakthrough and then challenge you to have more of them. So welcome to the world of being an entrepreneur. Welcome to being someone who is really okay with admitting and owning what they want out of life in their business, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting abundant wealth. There's nothing wrong with wanting financial freedom. It comes, though, to those who are willing to do the work. So if you go back to originally when I started this conversation with, what's the difference between the people who are just slaying it as an entrepreneur and those who are struggling? My belief is the people who are struggling are resisting the messy in the middle part, the hard part of it. And those that are succeeding at a high level viewed it for what it is. It's just a phase to get through. And the quicker I get through it, the quicker I'm going to achieve success. So I'm going to sit with it, embrace it. I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to bust through it. So that is what I believe is separating people. And what it really comes down to is, what are you making it mean? What are you making the messy in the middle mean? What are you making it mean when you say, this is really hard and more difficult than I thought it was going to be? What energy are you giving to it? That is what my belief is on what is keeping some people at a certain level and others are continuing to break through and experience success at a high level. So go find somebody who's performing at the level that you would like to be performing and observe what they're doing and just know that they've already had a breakthrough. And you might want to interview them. You might want to ask them what they experienced so you can be somewhat prepared. But nothing is going to give you a free pass to get through to the next level without experiencing some hardship. It's just not. I wish it was different. But again, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And embrace that anything and everything is possible if you're willing to do the work. So lean into the hardship, embrace it, know that greatness is on the other side. Welcome to being a successful entrepreneur. Okay, team, thanks so much for being here. As always, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. You can find me on Instagram, Tony M, like Martin, Caliendo. Tony M. Caliendo is my Instagram handle. I'm on Facebook. Clearly, you can find me there. Tony at rethinkcoaching.com. And if you Google me, you'll get my cell phone. You get all my stuff. You can always reach out to me and just say, hey, I was listening to one of your podcasts. I've got a question, and I'll be happy to answer it. I appreciate you being here. I cannot wait to talk to you guys next week. Go make it a great week. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.